So a little bit of talk on astrology. I'm just going to be touching base on the different books that I have read over the years. Check the description box for the full list, plus a few of the books that I have on my wish list that are probably really good. I haven't read them, obviously, but yeah, I'd say they're recommended. I'd preface this to say that I don't really study the same way that, I'm not like a traditional studier. My brain don't really work that way. So I'm more reference material. So none of these books I have read from cover to cover. I pretty much skim through and sort of understand what is there. And then I will reference the book whenever I'm looking for a particular topic. I'll start off with Parker's Astrology. This is a really big book. I really didn't know when I was getting it that it was going to be a tome. But this is a good book if you are starting out in astrology and you just want to know all of the basics. They give a really good overview, history, background. It talks about the planets. It shows you how to draw an actual astrology chart using the ephemeris. It talks about different astrological techniques. It doesn't go very deep, but it's very broad. So this is a really good book if you are looking to become an astrologer. This is a good foundational text. When I'm looking to dig deep into a concept, I like to work with this one first to see what it says. It tends to lay a foundation, and then I could actually do more research to go deep into that particular topic. I also got this one together with it. That's Astrology. I didn't tell you who wrote Parker's Astrology. I'll put that on screen, guys. Yeah. So Astrology for Yourself. This is basically a workbook, okay? It's basically going to help you to read your whole chart and any friends or whoever that you have. It gives you a breakdown of the meaning of all planets, aspects, and so on, so that you could pretty much write your entire astrology chart meaning in this book. Another thing that I like about this book is that it talks about the moon phases, which, we see online, we hear people talk about the different moon phases, what it means, but I've never actually seen it discussed in an astrology text. So this is unique to this book. Of course, it's light. It also talks about transits as well, the meanings of your transit. So if you're just trying to do your own chart and you don't know anything about astrology, you just want to give yourself a light chart interpretation, without going too deep, this is going to be a really good book for you. The rulership system in this book is a little bit different, and this is what introduced me to the fact that a lot of astrologers have a lot of different systems that work for them. For example, they use a lot of asteroids as the rulers of some of the signs. So, for example, Virgo is ruled by Vesta, and Libra is ruled by Juno, and those are actually asteroids. So this is something that is unique. They give a very unique perspective on that to sort of help me to look more into asteroids. Like, it's that important for some astrologers. I'm Aquarius moon, so whenever I'm reading a book, I'm sort of doing a psychoanalysis of the author as well. So yeah, actually don't know if that is a Aquarius moon thing or if that's a Mercury and Virgo thing, or maybe it's a combination of both. But yeah, I'm pretty much all the different astrologers have a different temperament, and you just have to kind of see what vibe it is that you are into. I am very flexible these days. I'm not really like for example, a lot of astrologers like to complain or argue about which system is best, whether it's Placidus or whole sign house. I'm like, the best system is the one that you're able to use. Why do we need to argue about that? It's just a funny thing that a lot of astrologers really grip on, and the need to be right. The system that you're using is the one that you're supposed to be using. Do it and do it well. There's no need to argue about that. Maybe that's my Aquarius moon coming through. Like, we all can get along. We can all have our own unique thing going on. Whenever I see an astrologer who is being snobbish, like, oh, you're not a sidereal astrologer, so you're wrong. Or you use whole sign houses, so you're wrong. I'm like, I wouldn't get a reading from that person because their scope is very narrow, very limited. You have to understand that astrology is really a metaphysical framework, right? We are studying the metaphysical realm. Okay? So the framework that it is that we are studying is just like a mental framework to sort of explain a force which cannot be seen. It's metaphysical. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's not, I don't know. Material scientists do this as well, and this is a topic that I want to talk about: the Aquarian energy and the truth. They're very fixed connection with what is truth and what is wrong, or what is objective and what is subject. It's a very weird thing about the Aquarian energy, and it affects a lot of material scientists. But ironically, we find the same issue with metaphysicians as well. Like, the system that we're working with is really just a shadow. It's just It's just symbolism that we are able to mentally work with, or process and utilize as well. But it's not the force itself. Okay, so there's no need to argue about what angle you're approaching it, because if you do that, then it's almost like you are limiting the actual force, and you're showing that you are honoring and you're studying the framework and not the force that it represents. Do you understand what I'm saying? Hopefully y'all get that, but that's just a little tangent right there. Oh, that reminds me. I don't remember in what order I got this one, but um, I have a feeling that one of these authors of one of these books, I don't remember who it was, made a comment about the lack of validity of the whole sign house systems. And the next author responded with a 7-hour video. The endurance of that, bro. I wonder if he has like Mars in Capricorn or Mars in Taurus, like the stamina. 7-hour long video. That's Chris Brennan for you. Hellenistic astrology. Like, this is one of the people on YouTube that I really like. I think he's actually Aquarius moon as well. I think he's Aquarius moon, Aquarius rising. I may be wrong. Maybe Aquarius sun rising. But when you look at that brother, he looked like Aquarius. He looked the way I think Aquarius would look, if it's in a particular frequency. If I would describe this work in one word, I'd say history. Okay. And you see this book, how thick it is? It's not pictures, guys. This is a lot of work. He put a lot of effort into this. Oh my God. He's so thorough. And I'm not surprised, because have you watched the podcast? Like, super in depth, super consistent as well. If you're really interested in the original way how Greek astrologers work, I would even say if you're into like Greek philosophy, Greek mythology, this would definitely be up your alley. So I use this book when I'm looking for additional context to various themes. If I feel like something is a little bit shallow or it's not explained in depth enough, I'll consult this book. The next foundational text that I read was from another modern astrologer, and this is The Inner Sky. If you're a person who's more into reading like fiction books, let's say that. If you want to get into it, but you don't want to feel like you are studying, get this book, because trust me, this author is such a good writer. He's a really good writer. He just presents the content. You just read it like a novel. I don't know. And I'm not saying that it's not actually factual. It is presenting all of the information, but it's the way how he arranges things, how he discusses it. I think a lot of times when we're looking at some of these frameworks, we're describing things like an Aquarian from a more sterile, generic, a very cold, detached perspective, right? I understand that we need this type of perspective to observe something, but when it comes to actually translating that to a person, we have to touch them emotionally. You understand? So I think this author, Stephen Forrest is his name. I think Stephen Forrest knows how to translate more technical things in a more emotional way that you really get it. You really get it, the way how he describes things. Bridge the gap using a little bit of emotions. I think he has a lot of Pisces influence, probably. One of my favorite books so far is by Stephen Arroyo. It seems almost unfair now that I'm calling the names. I'm sorry. I'm going to put the names on the screen. But Stephen Arroyo's Astrology, Psychology, and the Four Elements. This particular book right here, it really tied things up for me. And the thing is, I had this book, I bought it, and I had it put down for a very long time. And I only recently took it up. And I'm like, I was blown away. I don't know what happened when I got this book. I was like, ooh, it feels like I'm in psychology class. I didn't know it was going to be that into it. But this is an actual psychologist that wrote this, an astrologer psychologist, and a counselor as well. So he takes it from that lens. And that is more the angle that I'm wanting to go into now. So maybe that's the reason why I'm reading it. And it's just clicking. He's just clicking for me right now. I really like him. He has another book that I'm really interested in as well. The next two books I got to really understand the 8th house and the 12th house, which for me personally are severe. Okay. So I find that understanding an energy or understanding a house, it's very good to study the ruler a little bit deeper. Okay. So I got the Astrological Neptune by Liz Greene, and Pluto, The Evolutionary Journey of the Soul by Jeffrey Wolf Green. Very good book, this one. I really love this one. I don't necessarily think a lot of people look at Pluto as much. This book really helped me sort of wrap up a lot of concepts that I was processing emotionally and mentally around the 8th house and the 12th house, where my Pluto sits. I don't necessarily say you need to get those books unless it is that you are going into a bit more of evolutionary astrology, like karma, or like past life astrology, generational curse breaking, healing of deep trauma, that sort of thing, then you could get into these kind of books. Saturn is the other one that I would study. If you have a problematic or a very critical planet, then yeah, it's probably going to be helpful for you to study that. Or if they rule a house that you have a particular challenge with, maybe you have a stellium in that house, or significant T-squares, certain little focal issues with houses, then you could get Pluto or any other planet that you want to study. That's my recommendation anyway. I don't necessarily think we need to be hoarding books. You really just need the books that are going to help you to channel yourself in the right direction towards what it is that you're trying to study. Everything is energy. So the study of astrology kind of helps us to see this energy, to perceive this energy and understand how it works, how it interplays together, and, sort of make sense of things pretty much. But everything is everything. They have that saying in Jamaica, everything are everything. So there's no need to hoard. There's no need to hoard. Or maybe it's just the way how my brain works. I think it's best for us to figure out what lens it is that we want to slice and dice the energy, to perceive it, and figure out the way how we work, But you don't have to necessarily read a lot of books. All of these people who wrote these books are just sharing their own perspective. They're sharing the lens that they look at the world through. And it can be very helpful for you, but you have your own lens. Self-study is the ultimate study. And if you really study yourself and study energy, study the energy of life itself, that is the ultimate study of astrology, in my opinion. I could be reading a book on philosophy or another metaphysical system, and it helps me to understand astrology more. I could be looking out into nature and I'm learning astrology as I go. So you're going to see it in everything. So life itself is teaching you astrology. So that's my take on it. Those are the books I have so far. Hope y'all like this video. If you have any book recommendations for me, be sure to drop it in the comment section. I'm not saying I'm definitely going to buy it, but I like to know what's out there. So when I'm really looking for something, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember there was this book on that, So let me know what you have read, what you recommend. And also if you've read any of them, what are your thoughts? Let's talk about it.